Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
I'm unaware of anybody, frankly, whose wife has been sexually harassed and has made jokes about that type of situation.
That night, from people in the room, we've spoken to several people who attended the special and then attended parties afterward, and the words that we heard were they were confused as to why they would be there and involved in this way.
Go back to that picture real quick. It's really interesting. A lot of them are just not looking at him at all, even though he's standing and talking. Right. That's really interesting. And nobody's amused, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, they just thought it was puzzling that they would be out considering all the things that have been said.
She did not listen. She did not take my advice at all. I said that having read through Blake Lively's complaints, that it was evident to me that she was likely under the influence when she filed her complaint. Not under the influence of drugs, not under the influence of alcohol, but of the influence of proximity to Taylor Swift. Maybe one Eras tour too many had been attended by her and Ryan, and they were just feeling like they were Taylor Swift. I just recognized her brand of feminism.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your successes. I love creating, and I think that as women, you're not often given authors.
Now you see text messages in this lawsuit from Blake Lively comparing herself to the heroine of Game of Thrones, the fiercest female character we've seen in years. That's her riding her dragon. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones. And that's what Blake Lively says in a text message, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. That's, again, believed to be the other person.
Blake Lively did not even read the book that the movie was based on.
Correct.
And we're not talking War and Peace. And then she wanted to, ixnayed all of the wardrobe choices, because when you're making a movie about a poor woman who's suffering from domestic violence, you want her to look like she has money.
Right.
That Blake said.
That's what she did.
She looks like she.
They say Hollywood is full of secrets, but one of those secrets might have just burst into the open. Ben Affleck. Yes, the same Ben Affleck who's spent decades in the spotlight appears to have lobbed a serious accusation into the mix. According to the latest buzz, he's hinting that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds aren't simply the smiling, lovable couple we see at premieres and on red carpets. The word on the street is that they've been quietly managing relationships behind the scenes, setting people up and even pulling unsuspecting stars into arrangements for reasons only they know. The rumor swirling now is that Justin Baldoni wasn't their only target. Allegedly, they have a history of pulling these strings, shaping lives and careers far more than anyone realized. IT sounds outrageous, of course. Most people's first reaction is, wait, that's not the Blake and Ryan we know. They're Hollywood's poster couple for charm, wit, and romance. And that's exactly why this story is so explosive. It challenges the carefully polished image they've built for years. So buckle up, because what follows is a mix of swirling allegations, leaked tidbits, and conflicting statements, each more intriguing than the last. By the time you've heard it all, you may be wondering whether we've all been fooled by this golden couple from the very beginning. It all begins with Ben Affleck's reveal. Love him or hate him, Affleck has a knack for drawing attention. His career has been a roller coaster, his personal life a constant headline, and his way of handling drama unpredictable, to say the least. So when he casually hinted at Blake and Ryan's so-called manipulative streak, the industry couldn't help but listen. From what's been leaked, Affleck didn't just say they introduced people at parties. He implied they orchestrated entire career moves, disguised as romantic connections. That's not playing Cupid, that's playing chess. The question, of course, is why. Why would they care who dates whom? And more importantly, how would that give them an advantage in Hollywood? Here's where the story gets juicy. Several sources close to Affleck claim there are hush-hush recordings, or at least transcripts, of him describing certain pushy phone calls from Blake or Ryan, maybe both. These weren't friendly matchmaking suggestions. They were reportedly the kind of recommendations that sounded more like orders. Whether these recordings actually exist is still unconfirmed, but even the rumor of them has fans and critics in a frenzy. So, did Ben Affleck accidentally poke a Hollywood beehive he should have left alone? Or did he feel it was his duty to expose a behind-the-scenes pattern of manipulation? One thing's certain. Once this rumor caught fire, it spread like a match tossed into a room full of gasoline fumes, and people can't stop watching to see what burns next. Before diving deeper into the fireworks, let's pause and take a closer look at the couple in question. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, famous for their quick-witted banter on social media and their seemingly picture-perfect relationship, have long been considered the gold standard of Hollywood romance. They charm talk show audiences, poke fun at each other online, and radiate a squeaky clean, endearing aura that fans can't resist. But every coin has two sides. According to these new allegations, behind those public smiles, they may be quietly pulling the strings in other stars' lives. We like to believe they're sweet, funny, and philanthropic, but whispers suggest they could be far more power-hungry than they let on. And if there's even a shred of truth to this, it would completely change the narrative around them. The question then becomes, have we all been happily fooled by their irresistible comedic chemistry? Could that sunny, approachable public image actually be a mask for a power couple who thrive on manipulating people into relationships, then basking in the resulting chaos? It may sound like far-fetched speculation, but Hollywood is full of stories about A-listers doing whatever it takes, no matter how scandalous, to stay at the top. Blake and Ryan could simply be the newest members of that less-than-admirable club. Even more telling, insiders who once praised them for being down-to-earth have gone suspiciously quiet since the rumors began circulating. That could be coincidence. Or it could be that no one wants to cross a couple rumored to have enough influence to end careers. In an industry built on alliances and connections, silence often says more than words now. Let's explore the first major theory behind all of this: why Blake and Ryan might be playing matchmaker in the first place. Ordinary people set up friends all the time, usually for fun or out of genuine care for someone's happiness. But the rumor here is that their motivations go well beyond friendly intentions. Think publicity stunts, career leverage, or controlling the narrative around certain projects. One theory is that Blake and Ryan use these setups to position themselves as tastemakers in Hollywood. By strategically pairing certain actors or actresses, they allegedly gain favor and loyalty, building a network of people who owe them. It's a clever move, in theory. If half of Hollywood believes you helped them find their partner or revitalize their career by aligning them with someone on the rise, you could potentially call in those favors whenever you wanted. Another angle is that they may simply be addicted to the control. Hollywood runs on ego and influence, and for some, there's a thrill in shaping how their peers live and work. Whether that's introducing two stars for romance, building alliances through strategic friendships, or quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, the potential for manipulation is huge, and in a world obsessed with staying relevant, it might be too tempting for some to resist. And Hollywood, influence isn't just about talent, it's about shaping the stories people read. Imagine having the power to mold headlines. So-and-so is dating so-and-so. All thanks to Blake and Ryan's fateful introduction. It's the kind of move that keeps them firmly in the spotlight while fueling the image of the ultimate power couple. Two stars who not only thrive in their own careers but also seem to orchestrate the rise or fall of others. To some, that sounds manipulative. To others, it might seem like nothing more than a harmless pastime blown out of proportion. But the sheer volume of these rumors, multiple alleged victims, repeated patterns, and whispered insider accounts makes it harder and harder to dismiss as mere tabloid fodder. And then there's Justin Baldoni. If you followed entertainment news, you know him for his heartfelt roles and carefully maintained positive image. But behind that charming smile, rumor has it, lies a story he'd rather not revisit, one involving none other than Blake and Ryan. Depending on which source you believe, they either set him up in a romantic relationship or pushed him into a professional partnership. Whichever it was, the arrangement reportedly soured faster than milk on a summer sidewalk. Was it a one-time lapse in judgment on Blake and Ryan's part?
Possibly.
But the reason this particular case matters is because it suggests a pattern, one where things don't end in happily ever after, but in resentment, career fallout, or both. Fans have since looked back at Baldoni's own interviews, noting moments where he vaguely mentioned well-meaning friends who pressured him into situations he later regretted. At the time, nobody connected those words to one of Hollywood's most adored couples. Now, those cryptic remarks are being reevaluated as the potential tip of a much larger iceberg. Adding to the suspicion is another rumored detail. When Baldoni's situation began to fall apart, Blake and Ryan allegedly cut ties, leaving him to deal with the wreckage alone. If true, that would mean a man who spent years cultivating a spotless reputation was left holding the bag for a mess he didn't create. Of course, none of this has been confirmed. Neither Baldoni nor Blake and Ryan have gone on record about the matter. But in Hollywood, silence can be as telling as a confession. Sometimes, you don't need an official statement to sense that something is off. For those who have wondered whether an A-list couple might orchestrate relationships for leverage, Baldoni's rumored experience could be Exhibit A. And according to the chatter, he's not the only one. Lesser-known actors have been whispered about in similar tones. A phone call from Blake or Ryan, an introduction that feels like an opportunity of a lifetime, followed by a roller coaster of drama that leaves them worse off than before. Imagine you're a rising star, eager for your big break. Out of nowhere, you receive an invite to a glamorous event hosted by Ryan Reynolds, beloved for his sharp humor, or Blake Lively, admired for her style and grace. You arrive, starstruck and hopeful, only to realize later that you've been maneuvered into a relationship or a professional partnership that benefits them far more than you. Now, whispers in the industry suggest these seemingly generous gestures might actually be calculated moves, strategies to keep certain projects alive or certain co-stars in the spotlight. Why aren't potential victims speaking out? In Hollywood, crossing a power couple like Blake and Ryan can be career suicide. Their influence stretches from major producers to top-tier directors, meaning that pointing fingers could leave someone blacklisted overnight. That fear keeps most people quiet. Still, some insiders believe others might step forward if Ben Affleck's recent hints lead to a more public scandal. If that dam breaks, the reputational damage could be enormous. For now, those who do speak out do so anonymously, slipping details to tabloids or gossip blogs. It's the classic Hollywood leak. A whisper here, a clue there, until the puzzle suddenly forms a story more dramatic than any script on the silver screen. One of the most jarring elements is that Blake and Ryan have spent years perfecting their public image. They're the lovable couple who roast each other on birthdays, the philanthropic advocates for worthy causes, and the red carpet sweethearts even cynics can't resist. So how do those images square with allegations of behind-the-scenes manipulation? Nothing here proves guilt beyond doubt, but it paints a picture of two people deeply invested in controlling narratives about themselves and those around them. Once you glimpse a possible crack in the facade, it's hard to ignore. Every joke, every charming post begins to feel like part of a bigger, more calculated performance. You might be thinking this is too wild to be true. Could they really be that manipulative? The truth is, no one knows for certain, and that's what makes the story irresistible. It has all the makings of a Hollywood thriller, beloved stars, hidden motives, scandalous setups, and a whistleblower, if you can call Ben Affleck that, willing to stir the pot. The real question is whether Blake and Ryan are merely products of a cutthroat system where everyone jockeys for influence, or whether they truly are the masterminds some claimed. If more evidence surfaces, leaked messages, incriminating audio, or direct testimonies, this could become a full-blown reckoning. The internet loves a good downfall, especially when it topples a seemingly flawless duo. Fans might feel betrayed, or they might revel in the chaos. But there's also the chance that this is all smoke with no fire, rumors inflated by speculation and personal grudges. For now, it's a matter of belief. Do you buy into Affleck's veiled comments and the murmurs about Justin Baldoni's negative experience? Or do you see it all as a conspiracy meant to tarnish Hollywood's it couple? One thing is certain, this story isn't over. The next leaked voicemail, cryptic Instagram post, or heated on-set exchange could blow it wide open. Until then, keep an eye on how Blake and Ryan present themselves. In Hollywood, some of the most charming faces hide the deepest secrets, and if the allegations have any truth, we may be on the brink of one of the most dramatic unmaskings the industry has seen in years.